So I'd like to start, and as I promised you last week, we will start with a review. If those questions that were asked were confusing to you, I would hope that after the review it won't be. I got to tell you that there's a lot of information that I'm giving you over the next few weeks, and it will become second nature to you, I promise you. Not in the first week, not in the second, but over time. And I also would like to remind you to please have cards available. And please, when I give you a sample hand, deal out. Oh, Tom, could you spotlight me?
Yeah, sure. Got it.
Because if I put on my lipstick, I want to be able to see it. You know what I mean?
You're good to go.
I want to know that I didn't miss a spot. All right, thank you. So what was I say? So I'd like you to deal out those sample hands, and even beyond the sample hands, just deal out hands. And as we learn what to do with the cards, you practice it at home, because just dealing with paper is not going to work for you.
Right.
You need to have cards in your hand and feel how the cards go. Okay, so let's talk about what we learned last week. So we learned that bridge is a partnership. And you can look over last week's papers, and I'll stop periodically and you can ask me questions. We learned that bridge is a partnership, that there are 4 seats in bridge, and they're called north, south, and east and west. And the people that's sitting opposite you are your partners, is your partner. And you want to work with your partner to accomplish a goal. And the goal is what? What is the goal in bridge?
Win tricks.
Win tricks. That is your one and only goal. How many tricks you want to win and how you're going to win those tricks is dependent on other things. But if you just keep that your number one goal in bridge is to win tricks, you'll do fine. What's a trick?
Winning the 4-card play.
Okay. So the trick is all 4 players play a card. One person starts it off by leading. So if you hear the word lead, that means that's the first person to play a card in that trick. And that person is very powerful because that person is going to determine what suit you have to play a card in. Right? Remember the following suit? So let's say West, which is the person on the left over here. Let's say West leads a card. And because I don't know how to draw spades and clubs, we're going to make it a diamond because it's easy to draw. And that's the only reason I'm doing it. So she's going to lead a 3 of diamonds. And because we play clockwise, who plays next?
North.
North, because it goes this way. What suit does North have to play?
Diamonds.
Absolutely. Is there anyone who has a question about that? Okay. Which diamond North has to play is a strategic decision, strategic decision. But the fact that she has to play a diamond is a rule. You must follow suit. So North plays the ace of diamonds. East plays next, must follow suit, plays the 2 of diamonds. And South will now play a diamond. 4 of diamonds. Who won the trick?
North.
So who leads the next card?
North.
All right. So wherever the trick was won, that person makes the decision as to what suit is going to be played next. It does not have to be a diamond. It can be any card in her hand. I stop for questions. Okay. What if a player does not have a card in a particular suit and cannot follow suit?
They can play any other card.
Any card in their hand. So let's say South doesn't have a diamond. She plays, obviously I can't draw hearts either. She plays a heart, a 3 of hearts. She could play an ace of hearts. That makes sense?
No.
No, because the ace of hearts would be something that she'd want to hold on to for when hearts are led. right? When
Mhm.
somebody leads a heart, starts the trick off with a heart, her ace of hearts would take a trick. So she wants to hold on to those high cards for when those suits are led, right?
Yes.
Okay. Also, we want to make sure that we don't beat our partner. So let's say when West led that 3 of diamonds, North followed suit with the king.
Wow. Yeah.
Not a typical move, but it could happen.
Okay.
And East followed suit with the 2.
Right.
And now it's South's turn. And South is sitting there with an ace of diamonds and some little diamond.
A
Should
little
she take-
diamond.
Little.
She's going to play that little diamond
Little diamond.
Yeah.
because her partner has already won the trick. So
Yes.
there's no reason to beat it with the ace.
Right.
Now, I'm saying things that sound very elementary, but if you're a brand new player, it may not be so elementary. So remember, it doesn't matter. I'm sorry. Turn this down. It doesn't matter whether your partner wins the trick or you win the trick. It's how many tricks you win together. And if you win the trick, like, so let's say South plays a 4 on that, a 4 of diamonds. If you win the trick, you take your card and you place it in front of you in the direction of the side that won the trick. So I'm South. And my partner has won the trick with the king. So I'm going to place the card in front of me this way. You see how the short sides of the rectangle are facing the side that won the trick? They're facing north and south. If
Yes.
East and West had won the trick, I'd have placed the card in front of me this way.
That way. I see.
So
Anyone not understand?
everybody keeps their own card they played and puts it in front of them?
That's the modern way of doing it. You might see people who've been playing for a long time where the winner of the trick gathers up the cards in front of them. But it's much easier to figure it out this way because you're going to end up at the end of the 13. Remember, you have 13 cards and there's 13 tricks because you play 1 card on each trick. So at the end of the 13 tricks, you're going to have 13 cards in front of you. Some going this way, some going this way. And all you have to do is count up how many cards are facing your side, or if this is your side this way, and then you'll see how many tricks you won.
Okay.
And it's very important to keep track of how many tricks you won because we're going to be talking about contracts in a minute, reviewing contracts, and that's dependent on how many tricks you won. Okay, I just would like to go back to Trump for a minute. So let's say that she doesn't have any diamonds, and we're going to play any card in our hand. Let's say a certain suit has been established as the trump suit for that hand. In most hands, a certain suit is established as the trump suit in that hand. Could be hearts, could be diamonds, could be clubs, could be spades. How it gets established is through the bidding, and we'll review that too. But let's say the contract here is calling for spades to be the trump suit. You can only play a card in the trump suit if you're out of the card that was led. In this case, what suit was led?
Diamonds.
Diamonds. So 3 of diamonds from West, king of diamonds from North, 2 of diamonds from East. South does not have any diamonds. She does have spades, and the trump suit is spades. Should she play a spade?
No.
No.
Because the purpose of playing a card in the trump suit is to win a trick from the opposition.
Right.
So her partnership has already won that trick. But let's say that it wasn't the king coming from North, but the king came from her opponent. Her partner played the 4 of diamonds. We're talking about South now. Oh my God, that's awful. Awful diamond over there. Her partner plays the 4 of diamonds, and her opponent plays the king.
Yeah.
Now, South, if she doesn't do something, her side will lose that trick.
Yes.
She cannot follow suit. But she has a card in the suit that's been established as the trump suit for that hand, in which case we said it was spades. she can play any spade in her hand and her side will win the trick. So if she plays the 2 of spades, if she plays the 2 of spades and spades has been established as the trump suit for that hand, her side will win the trick and she will lead the next card for the next trick.
Mhm.
And I have a question about the
Yes, ma'am.
trump. I don't understand the trump and the no trump suit
Okay.
thing.
So through this thing called bidding, which is the purpose of our lesson today, a certain suit gets established as the trump suit for that hand. And the trump suit means it's a special suit. If you don't have a card in a suit that was led and your side is about to lose that trick, you can take that a trump card out of your hand and beat a high card in any other suit. But you can't play a trump card unless you're out of the suit that was led. So
So
if spades has been, I'm sorry?
So a trump card then is a card that's called a card that's a suit that's not in the play.
It's a suit that's not in the play, right? Yes, you can lead a trump card. Like if spades is trump, someone can lead a card in that trump suit and everybody has to follow suit in the trump suit. But if a card is led and you're out of that suit, but you have a card in the suit that is the trump suit, you can play a card in the trump suit and beat your opponent's good card. But you don't do it if your partner is already winning the trick. So if somebody leads diamonds and your partner plays the ace of diamonds and you don't have a diamond, but you do have a card in the trump suit, you're not going to play it because you already won the trick. So you'll play a card in a different suit to get rid of something.
So the trump suit are the suits that are being played. That's what you call the trump suit.
No.
Trump
No.
suit is a suit that's established in the bidding.
Getting ahead.
There's two stages in bridge. After the card is dealt, there's this thing called bidding. And the bidding is going to establish what the trump suit is. We're talking, and after the bidding comes the playing of the hand. We're talking about the playing first because it's the essence of what bridge is. How you get to what the trump suit is what we'll talk about next. But right now, I want you to understand about tricks and following suit.
But to simplify, the trump suit is the one that is the last thing bid. If the bidding
Not
ends at
that
3 diamonds, then diamonds becomes a trump suit.
it's for now, we will get to that. For now, just know that the trump suit is established in the bidding. I want to get there and then we will go ahead. Any question about anything I've taught so far? Okay, I also want to establish that 2 people can be out of a particular suit. So let's say the lead came from North and North led the 4 of diamonds and East played the king of diamonds and South, because the trump suit had been established as spades, how it got to be established, we'll talk about. The trump suit had been established as spades and South was out of diamonds, she trumped it. But what she didn't know is that West was also out of diamonds and West also had a card in the trump suit. So West can over trump. So West can play a 3 of spades. And now we have 2 people out of a suit. 4 of diamonds is led. King of diamonds is played next. 2 of spades. I trumped your king. I over trumped it. And again, she couldn't do that if she had a diamond. You can only do it if you're out of the suit.
Okay.
So far, so good?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, this
He's
is all
not
from
answering that woman's question.
what? I did not answer her question?
You did.
Oh, yes, I said that. If I might make a suggestion, when you put
Yes.
your demonstration up and you're
Yes,
talking about we're following order and we're trumping one another,
yes,
if you established what the suit was and what the trump was at the same time, or how we got to have a trump suit to begin with in the bid, that's what's missing. At least I didn't
because I haven't
find
gotten
out.
there yet.
Okay,
because I
very
haven't
good.
gotten there yet.
Right, so then we have to go back to that to move forward again.
There's a logic to what I'm doing.
Okay,
have
very
to
good.
trust-
Thank you.
You have to trust me.
Thank you.
Okay,
Okay, one more question, please.
yes.
Okay, let's say you lead with, the trump suit is something in the bidding, so that's done. The person that leads with diamonds, so if you're north and you lead with a diamond, east,
East,
do I have to play a diamond if I have one in my
Must.
hand?
you must.
Oh, okay,
Number one rule in bridge is you must follow suit,
Right.
okay, no matter what.
whether you like it
Okay.
or not. As a matter of fact, here's a case. Let's say 4 of diamonds is led, king of diamonds over here, trump over here. Let's say she has a diamond, and the only diamond she has is the ace. She just played an ace on her partner's king, and she had no choice.
Okay,
because
she had no
to follow
choice.
suit.
Okay,
Right.
thank you.
If you only have one left, you have to follow suit. Okay,
Well, wait,
We
in that
also-
case, then who won?
The ace.
well, in this case,
The trump.
okay,
the
hang
trump.
on. Let me just draw the ace of diamonds here.
In the last case,
Okay,
the other spade won.
You
but
tell
if
me.
they do
the card that was led is a diamond. The trump suit is spades. Who wins the trick?
the ace.
Spade.
South won the trick.
Oh.
Because she trumped it.
Get that?
So I don't care what kind of diamonds went out. A trump beats everything.
And didn't the ace of diamonds person waste their ace of diamonds?
Had no
They only played it because it was a singleton. They only had, singleton
Okay.
means you only have one. I said in that
Okay.
case, they had to play it because it was the only one that they had.
Okay,
They would have never played it if they had another one.
yeah.
Why would they waste it if they already lost the trick? Okay, we also learned about the dummy hand. In every hand of bridge, one hand goes down on the table. Now, we talked about that there's a bidding phase right after the deal. Before we even get to playing these cards, there's a bidding phase. Can I see the bidding scale? Please, Tom.
Sure, getting it up.
Great. So we're going to start. You can, guys can't see, you can see me right on the side. We're going to start with the very first thing that happens in a hand of bridge. Somebody deals the cards. How you decide who deals it first? You can, in duplicate bridge, there's a certain method, but in your house, you could just say, okay, this person, the person whose house you're in, they're going to deal the cards first. They deal out all the cards. They go clockwise. You don't get the first one. This is not Mahjong. You deal to the person to your left first, right? Dealer goes to the left, to their partner, to their right, to themselves. And they deal out the entire deck, no jokers. And you end up with 13 cards. Before we even look at the bidding scale, remember you're going to organize your cards into suits. High to low in each suit. So now you have all your spades, high to low. Separate your spades from your clubs with a red suit, high to low. Then your clubs, high to low, then another red suit. Doesn't have to be that order, but I suggest that you separate your red suits from your black suit. The scorecard is covering the entire page. I don't know what that means. This is not a scorecard. This is a bidding scale. Is that what you're talking about, Ellen? It's supposed to cover the entire page if it's being a screen share. Okay, so this is a bidding scale. The cards are all dealt out. The cards are all organized. And now the dealer opens his mouth and says something. And one thing he can say is one of these bids. Or if he doesn't choose to make a bid, he can say pass. So let's look at this bidding scale. And let's take this one club. If I point to this, Tom, can they see it? Or only if you point to
Oh,
it?
yeah, it would be, so I don't know, can you guys see my mouse when I'm pointing to it right now?
Yes.
Perfect, so yeah,
Okay,
I'll
so-
point, you talk.
Okay, thanks. So that one club that Tom is pointing to is the bottom of a ladder. Now let's go up the ladder to 4 no trump at the top of that column. Okay, but that's not the top of the ladder. Because let's go down to 5 clubs. That's right above 4 no trump on the ladder. So the bidding goes 1 club, 1 diamond, 1 heart, 1 spade, 1 no trump, 2 clubs, etc., all the way up to 4 no trump, and then that's followed by 5 clubs, all the way up to 7 no trump. The reason it's in 2 columns is because I couldn't fit it into 1 column going straight up. But if you cut out the right side, right column, and paste it right above the left column, you'd have 1 ladder.
Thumbs up.
And that's called the bidding scale. If
Mhm.
you choose to make a bid, you can bid any one of those bids. Some bids would make sense, some bids wouldn't. We're not talking about that now. I just want you to understand the bidding scale. I want you to understand if somebody has bid, the next person to bid, and that goes clockwise also.
As soon as possible. Thank you.
The next person to bid would have to make a bid higher than the previous bid. So Tom, could you put your cursor on 1 no trump? So let's say thank you. The first person to bid says 1 no trump. The next person would like to bid clubs. Can they bid 1 club after 1 no trump?
No.
Oh,
No, because that's going down the ladder.
right.
If they want to bid clubs, they would have to say 2 clubs or 3 clubs or 4 clubs or something higher on the ladder.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go from 1 no trump to 2 clubs. Next person says 2 clubs.
Yeah.
Person after that says 2 hearts. Person after that would like to say spade. What's the minimum bid that they would bid in spades?
2
Two.
spades.
2 spades. Okay. So you get the idea that you have to keep going up the ladder. All right. At some point, somebody will say something. Let's say 4 spades. Okay. I love you, Tom. Let's say someone says 4 spades and everybody else passes. Okay. So east says 4 spades, south passes, west passes, north passes. That 4 spades now becomes this thing called the contract. What would make them say 4 spades? We're not up to yet, but they say a bid on this bidding scale and 3 consecutive people pass. That is now the contract. And the contract tells you what the trump suit is. So in a contract of 4 spades, spades has been named as a suit. If everybody passes on 4 spades, spades is now the trump suit.
And can I interrupt with a question before you go ahead?
Yes.
Going back to that person saying no Trump, why are they saying no Trump?
We haven't talked about that yet. That is part of what the next 2 lessons is going to talk about. Again, I don't want to talk about why they would say that. I want you to understand how a contract gets established. We will get there, I promise you. I will not leave you in the dark.
Can
So
I
if
ask-
4 spades, if 4 spades is the contract, why they said spades, why they said 4, we don't have to talk about right now. That's the contract. Spades is the trump suit. And look at the number 4. Do you remember what I taught you last week about that?
Add 6, and that's the number of tricks that are needed for that
Right.
contract.
You
It's
add 6 to the number in the contract. And that tells you the sum of the level of the contract plus 6 tells you how many tricks that side has to make in order to make the contract.
Mhm.
So the side that bid 4 spades followed by pass, 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 that side is the one that has to make the contract.
Okay,
Spades
question,
is trump.
question. Do you go around the table 1 time, 2 times, 3
You go
times?
around the table as many times as you have to until some bid is followed by 3 people passing.
Okay,
If I decide, if I'm the dealer, remember I get to bid first because I'm the dealer? If I decide to make my first bid,
Oh, yeah.
Jan, you can bid anytime you want on your turn. If you pass initially, you can bid anytime you want. As long as it's your turn.
I forgot what the asterisks mean.
I will tell you. I was going to tell you next. So if I decide on my very first bid to say 4 spades, it's kind of a wild bid, but I could do it, and 3 people pass, there was only 1 bid made at the table. But it's now the contract because it was followed by 3 passes.
Mhm.
And why are they passing?
Because
have-
they don't choose to bid. So remember last time I talked to you? I don't know if you could see me in the corner, And I know it's a magnifying glass, but we're gonna pretend it's a paddle at a bidding, at an auction. Why? Why would you keep that paddle in your lap if you're at an art auction? Because either you don't like the painting, but let's say you like the painting that's being offered. You just don't have the money for it. You don't think you can afford it, even though you like it. So you keep that paddle in your lap and you only raise that paddle if you think, if you win the auction, then you're gonna get that painting and you can afford to pay for it. But if you can't afford to pay for it, you're gonna keep the paddle in your lap. You might be sad about not being able to bid on it, but you're not gonna bid on something you can't afford. It's the same thing in bidding in bridge. You're not going to make a bid if you don't think you have the strength in your hand, because remember, any bid can be followed by 3 passes. So let's say I just feel like saying seven diamonds. I want to make a bid like 7 diamonds. I like the way it sounds. I'm going to say 7 diamonds, and 3 people pass. Guess what? My side has to try to make a contract of 7 diamonds. What would be the trump suit in a contract of 7 diamonds?
Diamonds.
And how many tricks would they have to make?
13.
Oh my God, all of them.
All of them.
Yeah.
7 plus 6 is 13. And then my partner will say, why did you open up your mouth and say 7 diamonds? Now we can't lose any tricks.
Yeah.
What happens if you have a contract of 7 diamonds and you almost make it? You make 12 tricks. Isn't that lovely? You get nothing. You get bupkis. You get service from your partner. Because your partner will yell at you, why did you bid something stupid? Just like if you go to the art auction and wives, and you love that painting and you raise the paddle, and now you have to pay $10,000 for a painting, your husband will yell at you, or vice versa if the husband raises the paddle. Okay? So you don't want to have to answer to your partner by making a bid that you can't make. Any bid can be followed by 3 passes and it could become the contract. So be careful. Understand?
Yes, thank
Okay,
you.
so let's keep the bidding scale in front of us and let's talk about these asterisks. And I did mention to you that on your bidding scale, because it was left off of this one, you should have an asterisk next to 5 diamonds and 5 clubs. Can we show them that? I'm pointing like you could see. Okay, right. So where it says 5 diamonds and 5 clubs on your copy of the bidding scale, please put a little asterisk like there is next to the 4 spades and the 4 hearts. And those bids that have the asterisks next to them.
Say that again?
Sure. You see how we have a double asterisk next to 3 no trump, 4 hearts, and 4 spades?
Yes.
You have a copy of this bidding scale. If you've printed it out, please put the same asterisks next to the bids of 5 clubs and 5 diamonds, because those should have asterisks also. I'm sorry if they were left out. And now we have 5 bids that have asterisks next to them. 3 no trump, 4 hearts, 4 spades, 5 clubs, and 5 diamonds. Why do they have asterisks next to them? Because those are special bids. If you make that bid and it becomes the contract and you make the right amount of tricks, so for 3 no trump, you make 9 tricks, for 4 hearts, you make 10 tricks, etc. If you make the right amount of tricks, in other words, you make the contract, you get special bonus points for making a complete game. That's what it's called. It's called a complete game. And you're making it with that suit as the trump suit, or with no trump, depending on how it's listed. Now, if you want spades to be trump, ignore that masked man. If you want spades to be, ignore the man behind the curtain. If you want spades to be trump, but you don't think you're going to make enough tricks to make 4 spades, you could play it in 3 spades. Please go down. Or 2 spades, or 1 spade. Spades is still trump, but you don't need as many tricks to make the contract. It doesn't mean that you're going to get the bonus points, though. That's called playing in a partial contract. It's part of a complete game, but it's not a complete game. I don't want you to get into the habit of just bidding for one of those starred contracts if you don't have the requisite number of strength in your hand. And we're going to talk about what that strength is.
Okay, question again. You have your hand, you dealt your cards, you're looking at your 13 cards, you see you have a lot of spades, a lot of diamonds, no hearts. You start bidding
Your strength.
to your strength of the suits in your hand.
Your bid is going to be a combination. We haven't gotten there yet, but your bid is going
okay.
to be is going to be a combination of strength in your hand and suit. You could have a certain number of cards in a particular suit and still choose not to bid because you don't have any strength. You don't have any high cards, any aces, kings, queens, or jacks.
So when you say a 2 clubs, you don't need a bid of 2 clubs. You don't need 2 clubs in your hand.
No.
A 2 of clubs.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up. So a 3 heart bid does not mean you have 3 hearts in your hand. A 3 heart bid, I can't say what it indicates. It indicates different things at different times. But don't think that the level of the bid indicates how many cards you have in a particular suit. It's not like if I'm bidding 1 club, it means I only have 1 club in my hand.
And it
Okay.
doesn't mean you have an ace of clubs. It doesn't
It
have
doesn't
anything
mean
to do with.
it. No, it means
Separate.
something that I'm going to get into in about 5
Okay,
minutes.
thank you. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So
And-
again,
And
we
just
said,
one more. Can I ask one more
yes,
question?
sure.
So
I love questions.
when you're making a bid, when you're saying like, okay, 1 trump, are you putting that card
There's
down?
no
face
such
up?
bid as 1 trump. There's a bid of 1 no trump.
I'm sorry, 1 heart. Are you
Yes.
putting that down on the table face up or
No,
you're keeping it
no.
in your hand?
Okay. Thank you. So when you're bidding, remember, the first thing that happens is the cards are dealt and organized, right? The second
Yes.
thing that happens is that the dealer, whoever the dealer is for that hand, is going to make one of those bids on the bidding scale, or he's going to say the word pass. That's the only 2 things that can happen. He can either make one of those bids or say the word pass. The next person clockwise will make one of those bids or say the word pass. But if that person who's next says a bid, it's got to be higher on the bidding scale than the previous bid. And the
So the
bidding,
bidding, so the
Or
bidding,
are they putting it down on the table?
no, nobody sees any cards. You're holding your cards in front of you now. Nothing is on the table yet. The
Okay.
bidding will continue, or just saying words, not showing any cards, not playing any cards. The bidding will continue until one of those bids is followed by 3 consecutive people saying pass.
The
And when
bidding-
that happens, we now have a contract. So,
Okay.
so just let me finish and then I'll answer the question. So Tom, could you just follow as I say it? So I'm the dealer. I say 1 heart. The next person says 2 clubs.
Yeah.
The next person says 2 hearts. And then everybody says pass. So it was 1 club, 1 heart, pass, 2 hearts, pass, pass, pass. I said a club, my opponent said a heart, my partner said pass, my other opponent said 2 hearts, and then everybody passed. What's the contract?
2 hearts.
How many tricks do they have to make, my
8.
opponents? 8.
8
What's
8.
the trump suit?
Heart.
hearts.
Has a card been played yet?
No.
No, but now a card is about to be played. Because once the trump suit has been established, once the contract has been established, somebody is going to lead a card. And that's when the play of the hand starts. And the person who leads the card is the person to the right of the declarer. I'm sorry, to the right of the dummy. Remember we talked about the dummy hand?
Yes.
Who gets to be the dummy? Well, let's go over that bidding again, Tom, if you would. I'm north, I open 1 club. West says 1 heart. My partner south passes. The east says 2 hearts. Pass, pass, pass. So the contract is now 2 hearts. I didn't bid it, my partner didn't bid it, my opponents bid it, right?
Yes.
I bid a club, my partner passed. She didn't have anything. So they're playing it in 2 hearts. The dummy is the declarer is the person who first bid the suit that ends up being trump. So that would be the person who bid 1 heart. Even though the other person bid 2 hearts, and let me just put it here so you could see it. It's a little easier if you could see it. So somebody opens, I think I was west, and I said 1 club.
1 club.
And North says 1 heart. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yes.
And then my partner, East, passes. South says 2 hearts, and everybody passes. Okay, so it went 1 club from me, 1 heart from my opponent, pass from my partner, 2 hearts from my opponent, pass, pass, pass. Everybody got that? Contract is 2 hearts. 1 club, 1 heart. And you can see if you follow along on the bidding scale that we went up the bidding scale, 1 club, 1 heart, pass, 2 hearts, everybody else passed. Contract is 2 hearts. 8 tricks, 2 plus 6. Hearts is trump. North bid hearts first, right?
Yes.
North is declarer. North has to play his hand and his partner's hand. And this hand is now the dummy. This hand is going down on the table. But I said the person to the right of the dummy leads the first card. Who is to the right of the dummy?
The one who passed.
West.
This one, right?
East. Yeah.
Oh, east.
East.
Yeah, but
East is gonna lead.
why can't the 1 club win? Because nobody else had a club but that person.
Once you bid,
These are
that's a
bidding.
good question. Once you make a bid, the next bid obliterates your bid. It knocks it out.
She's confusing the play with the bidding.
Well,
Right. Again, the only purpose of bidding is to establish what the contract is going to be. Once the contract is done, now we just have to try to make the contract with this as the trump suit.
and
So-
the bidding is like a conversation before the actual play. The bidding
It
kind of,
actually is. The bidding is a conversation. It's a way of me saying, let me tell you what I have in my hand. And your partner saying, okay, let me tell you what I have in my hand. And it goes back and forth. And you say, and you decide, okay, together we have a certain strength. And we think we can make a contract. And here's the suit that we would like to have as the trump suit. Or we go back and forth and we say, oh, okay, together we have certain strength, but we don't want to play with a certain suit as trump. We want to play with no suit as trump. Or we have a conversation and we say, I've got garbage. And my partner goes, okay, I've got garbage too. And we're not going to take a lot of tricks. So we better not try to make a contract. We better try to let them have the contract, and we're going to try to defeat them. Understand? And your bid, even your pass is a bid. It's not a bid. It's a bit of information that tells your partner. If you're sitting there at an art auction and your paddle is in your lap, isn't that a statement that you're making?
Yes.
You're saying, I don't have this. I don't want it. So if you pass, that's like your paddle is in your lap. You're saying, not me. I don't want to go for this. I don't like it. Okay. So the person to the right of the dummy is going to lead the first card. Who's the dummy in this hand?
South.
South, because South is the partner of the person who first bid the suit that ended up being trump. North first bid hearts. The fact that West bid clubs has nothing to do with the play of this hand. It was just a bit of information. West was telling her partner, I was West, I was saying, hey, I've got a certain thing in my hand. But I didn't end up with the contract because my side didn't make the bid that was followed by 3 passes. Does everyone understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So East is going to lead and South's hand is going to come down on the table and her hand is the dummy hand. All 13 of South's cards go down on the table. And I think I showed you last week in vertical rows. So she puts all her spades down, all her hearts down, all her clubs down, all her diamonds down. Normally, the way it goes down is the trump suit would be on her partner's left. So she put all of her cards like this, you know, all of her cards in a suit, and then all of her cards in the next suit, and all of her cards in the next suit like this. But the first suit she puts down is the trump suit. It's on the left. And then when it's time for this hand to play a card, she doesn't play it. Her partner, the declarer, tells her what card to pull out of this hand. This hand is the dummy hand, and it's called the dummy hand because you dummy up. Your purpose in life is to have bid and put your cards down on the table, and now your partner will tell you what card to pull. If your partner tells you to pull a card and you don't think it's a good idea, that's the way it goes. All right, you have to just do what they tell you. Now, so declarer is playing 2 hands. He's playing his partner's hand, the dummy, and his own hand down here. If he wins a trick in his partner's hand, the next card comes out of the partner's hand. If he wins a trick in his own hand, the next card for the next trick comes out of his hand. Right?
And that's done verbally, not, he doesn't reach across and play the card, or?
If he has bad manners, he reaches across and plays the card. In which case his partner will slap his hand and say, just tell me, I'll play it.
Gotcha.
That's in a vicious game. In a nice game, his partner will say, please just tell me, I'll play it. Okay? If you're playing on a bridge site, then you will actually click, you know, if you're playing like you click on the cards in a bridge site, you will click on the card and it'll play. But in a real game, you just tell your partner, play the ace, play this, play what, and he'll just pull it. And just remember I showed you how you put the card in front of you? Remember I told you put the card in front of you and then you face it in the direction of who won the trick?
Yes.
So dummy will do the same thing. If you tell dummy to play a card, dummy will pull that card out and then put it in the direction of who won the trick. Okay. So now we know, this is what you should know at this point, and because then if you know it, then we can start with the bidding. What would make you say one of these things on the bidding scale? You should know what the partnerships are. You should know what a trick is. Stop me if I say something and you don't know. You should know what it means to follow suit. You should know how a trump suit is established. You should know when you're able to use a card in the trump suit.
Do you know that?
Me? Yes, I do.
I'm asking you. No,
Do I know when you're allowed to use a trump card?
no, I was speaking to my partner at the table. I didn't know. I thought I was muted. I'm sorry for that.
Oh, okay.
Jeez.
I thought you were asking me. I was going to say, I hope so. Otherwise, what the heck are they paying me for? All right. So you should know when to use a card in the trump suit, when you're allowed to. The answer is when you're out of the card that was led, out of the suit that was led. You should know what it means to over a trump. That means you're trumping over your opponent's trump card. Do not over trump your partner. If your partner has trumped a card and won the trick, don't play a higher trump on that and never beat your partner unless you have no choice. You should know how someone gets to be the declarer and that his partner is the dummy. You should know how a contract is established through the bidding and what the contract tells us. And just as a review, it tells us what the trump suit is, or it tells us if there is no trump suit with the words no trump, and it tells us to add 6 to the level, and that's how many tricks you have to make. and you should know what the complete games are. The contracts that have stars next to them. And that it means that if you make them, you get bonus points. And that anything under that is called a partial in that suit. And you should know who leads the first card, the person to the right of the dummy. Any questions about anything? It's a lot of information.
It is, yes.
While you're playing, should you be counting all the cards and all the suits that have been played? So you have.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%, especially in the Trump suit. Okay, now,
Question, I'm sorry, I have a question about the complete game.
I interrupt 1 second? Tom, could you take the bidding scale off and bring me back, please? Thank you. Yes, question?
So if you bid 3 no trump, but
Yes.
you make, so you need 9 tricks, right?
With no suit as the Trump suit,
Right.
yes.
If you only make 8, because that's a starred game, you still get some points?
No,
Oh, okay.
you never get anything unless you make the requisite number of tricks for your contract. The only side, in every hand of bridge, some side is going to get points. If you make the contract, you'll get the points. If you don't make the contract, the other side gets points. So it's in your interest, guys. Just because you don't have the contract doesn't mean you can go take a nap. If North and South are playing the hand and you're sitting in East or West, you still have to pay attention because your job is try to make enough tricks to keep them from making the contract. Because if you keep them from making the contract, then you get points.
May I ask another question, please?
Well, you don't even have to ask if you can ask, just ask.
Didn't want to interrupt.
That's okay.
I heard you say that when the dummy's hand goes down, trump comes first in terms of suits.
Yeah, it's traditional to put the, remember I told you put all your 13 cards down in vertical columns?
Right.
It's traditional to put the trump suit down so that when Declara is looking at the cards on the table, she sees the trump suit on her left.
Is there any other order to the other suits that
No.
come? No.
There's no order. I would suggest that you try to separate a red suit from a black suit, just like you would in your hand, because you don't want your partner to make a mistake and say play a diamond when she means to play a heart, because she's not following suit because she doesn't, she makes a mistake.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, question.
Can
When
you
the
tell me,
dummy,
as a beginner, is it better to underbid?
Good question. So what she's saying is, should you underbid, meaning should you bid lower than you think you can make as a beginner? It depends on how much confidence you have in your play. I mean, I like people to bid the correct bid. If you think you have enough strength together to make a complete game and you don't bid it, you bid a partial, then you lose those hundreds of extra points. But on the other hand, if you feel intimidated by having to make a certain number of tricks, then yes, underbid in the beginning, but don't rely on it. Just like if you're learning how to play tennis, you might want to play with a poorer player who's not going to hit the ball as hard to you, right? Because you don't want the challenge of playing with a good player. But if you don't ever play with a good player, you'll never get good yourself.
You mentioned before about practicing.
Yes.
Is there a site that you might send us to practice online?
There are many bridge sites. I will name you a couple of bridge sites now, but I think you will be lost. If you're a beginner player, you will be lost trying to play on them. But I will mention the sites to you. One that I like a lot is cool. And Ruth, you had a question. I didn't forget. I saw you start to ask a
since
question.
the dummy hand is exposed, you're at a disadvantage because the east and west can see your exposed dummy hand.
The dummy hand is exposed and everyone can see it.
So you're at that play. You're at a disadvantage with your partner then.
Who's at a
because
disadvantage? The dummy?
The dummy and the partner, because what if you have kings, queens in your dummy hand that's exposed?
The point is that you wouldn't get to be the dummy hand unless you and your partner had a certain amount of strength, unless you were strong enough together to make the right number of tricks. So you wouldn't even be in that contract unless you had something between you. Okay. The two bridge sites that I'd like to recommend are called Bridge Base BRIDGEBASE.com. And Bridge Doctor. I believe Bridge Doctor has a small nominal. Oh, he's putting it on. Thank you, Tom. I believe that Bridge Doctor has a nominal fee, monthly fee, maybe $5, $6. I'm not sure. But there may be some free trial period. I really don't know. I never go on Bridge Doctor. My husband does, that masked man that came in before. But I go on Bridge Base, which is free. But I'm saying right now, I wouldn't go on it because it's going to ask you for a bid and you're not going to know what to do.
Thank you.
Give it a couple of weeks. You're welcome.
And can you go back to why somebody becomes the dummy hand?
I will. And then I'm going to say, because we only have 35 minutes left and I haven't started today's lesson yet. All we've done is review. I just wanted to point that out. Now, we do have 2 weeks to cover this material, but I don't know. At this rate, it's not going to happen. All right. How person gets to be the dummy? So after the cards are dealt, you start bidding. Remember all those bids on the bidding scale? Who's ever asking me the question?
Yes.
So you go up the bidding scale until somebody mentions something on the bidding scale that's followed by 3 passes.
Yes.
The side that made that bid, one person is the declarer and one person's the dummy. The person that first bid that suit that ended up being the trump suit, that's the person who's the declarer. They're going to play their hand and their partner's hand. Declarer's partner is the dummy. That's the hand that goes down on the table.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, that's clear?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes, thank
Okay, guys, let's start with today's lesson. We're going to talk about what makes you say one of those things on the bidding scale. So if you would please turn to page, la, 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 la. Let's turn to page 7.
Do you want me to share it, Ann?
Sure. Maybe somebody doesn't. Tom, you're very nice. I like you. I'm taking you to lunch. Wendy's or McDonald's or Burger King, whatever you want. Okay, that got a little crooked.
They're all crooked.
They're all crooked?
Yeah.
I guess when they went into the scanner, they went in crooked.
Yeah, it looks like we're gonna have to do another scan job, and this is even the second one, so I may have to do it personally because
The whole packet's crooked.
yeah, we'll see what we can do about that.
Doesn't matter.
Okay,
It doesn't
all
matter.
right.
You can read it.
So let's just follow along. After the cards are dealt, the dealer will have the first opportunity to bid. So again, as just to remind you, you can make whoever you want to be the first dealer, but after that, the next person to deal would be the next person clockwise. Everything goes clockwise in bidding, in bridge, okay? He can make one of those bids on the bidding scale, or he can pass. And the bidding continues until some bid is followed by 3 passes. I know it's ad nauseum. That bid becomes the contract. It's also possible that all 4 players may pass. So I'm north and I dealt the cards. I choose to pass. East passes, south passes, west passes. Nobody bid. There's no contract. What would make nobody bid? Nobody had a decent enough hand to make a statement. Just like, remember we had the paddles? They hold up a piece of artwork. Everybody has the paddle in their lap. Nobody chooses to bid on it. So in that case, you throw in the cards and the same person who dealt that hand, it wouldn't go clockwise now because there was no bidding going on. The same person would deal out a new hand. That's why it's a good idea when you actually, if please God, we ever get together again in person and we can play cards in person, it would be a good idea to have 2 decks of cards. So there's always one ready, so you don't have to deal, you don't have to mix them up and people have to wait. Okay. Whoever makes the first bid, remember a pass is not a bid. Whoever makes the first bid is making what they call an opening bid. So in this hand, the first person to bid was me at 1 club.
Yes.
I dealt. I made an opening bid. I said something other than pass. If I had passed, If I had passed over here, North would have bid next. Her bid would have been an opening bid because nobody else would have bid. So if East deals or West deals, if West deals and she passes, and then North passes, and then East passes, South would be making an opening bid. Even though she wasn't the dealer, nobody bid before her. Everybody else passed. Understand?
Yes.
First person to say something from the bidding scale is an opening bid. And I'm telling you that requires 13 points. Well, what does that mean? Here's where you find out if you can make an opening bid. You take your aces, your kings, your queens, and your jacks, and you give each one a certain number of points. Give every ace in your hand 4 points, and those points are called high card points. See, it says HCP in parentheses. Every ace in your hand gets 4 points. Every king gets 3 points. Every queen gets 2 points. Every jack gets 1 point. And when you add all that together, you have high card points. So I'm going to make up a little hand here. Maybe you can help me. Somebody tell me what I have in spades. Give me 4 spades. Who wants to have? Just jump in. Give me 4 spades.
We only see the handout.
I know. I want you to tell me. I'm creating a hand on here. I want someone to give me 4 spades.
Ace, Jack, 10, and 3.
Ace, Jack, 10, and 3. Okay. I need 9 more cards, right? To make 13,
Yes.
right? 13 cards, you gave me 4. Give me 2 hearts. That's called a doubleton. When you have 2 of something, it's a doubleton. Someone give me a doubleton in hearts.
9 and 2.
9 and 2?
Yes.
Yeah, let's make this hand a little better. Give me 5 diamonds.
A queen, jack, 10, king, and 4.
Now notice the king should have been said first.
Okay.
All right? Because we're going to organize our cards in order from high to low. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I need 2 more cards in clubs. Somebody else, please give me 2 clubs. Not a bit of 2 clubs, but just tell me 2 clubs that I could put in this hand.
8 and 8.
A what?
8 and 7.
An 8 and 7. Okay. First of all, we're going to count our cards as soon as we get them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Now, we've organized our cards from high to low. Right? This is my hand in front of me. And now I'm going to see how many points I have. It's my turn to bid. I'm the dealer, and I'm not going to open my mouth unless I have 13 points. So the first thing I'm going to count is my high card points. Take a minute. You can copy this hand down if you'd like, and tell me how many high card points this hand has.
11.
13.
11.
11.
11.
Okay, now those people that know some bridge, got to give the other people a little chance to catch up. The ace is 4. The jack is 1, makes 5. The king is 3, makes 8. The queen is 2, makes 10. The jack is 1, makes 11. Anybody not see that? Okay. So once you've counted up all your high card points, the next part of it is what they call distribution points. And look back at the screen, please. Thank you, Tom. Distribution points are awarded for suits in which a player has more than 4 cards. Each card over 4 gets an extra point. So is there any suit here that has more than 4 cards in it?
Diamonds.
Diamonds. So how many high card points were there, guys?
11.
There were 11, right? High card points.
11.
1 for the ace, 1 for the jack, 3 for the king, 2 for the queen. We added it all up, 11 high card points, plus
Mhm.
1 extra point for the extra diamond. This
Okay.
hand has 12 points in it,
Wow, okay.
not 11, has 12. Remember, Tom, could you go back to that first sentence in the second paragraph? Second sentence, I'm sorry. This bid generally requires 13 points. So this doesn't really have
Yes, it
13
didn't count the 10. The 10.
No,
it
you
don't.
can't.
You
You don't
can't?
get points for the 10.
Oh.
Only the
Aces
face.
are 4, kings are 3, queens are 2, jacks are 1. That 10 is nice because you have the king, queen, and jack with it, but we're only saying how you decide on your points. So this hand is not quite enough to make an opening bid. Would I make an opening bid with this hand? Maybe. But I'm a very experienced player and I tend to play a little aggressively, and I can do it when I don't have quite enough because I have confidence in my play. But for you, I don't want you to make an opening bid without 13 points. So how could I make this into a 13-point hand? There's many things that I could do. I could change this jack into a queen, couldn't I? So instead of 1 point for the jack, I would get 2 points for a queen. That would give me the extra point, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Can someone suggest something else I could do to change this hand into a 13-point hand?
Give yourself another diamond.
I could give myself another diamond. All right, I'll give myself the 3. But then I'd have to take away a card in another suit.
Right.
Otherwise, I'd have 14 cards. So I'll take away a club. What do I have in clubs now? It's a singleton. Remember we talked about a doubleton? Having 2, a singleton is having 1. And if I had no clubs, that's called a void. Those are just terms that you should know for bridge. Okay, let's see if I have 13 points. Count with me, please.
4, 5,
8,
3, 8,
10,
10,
11,
11 high card points still, but now 12, 13. I have 2
Uh-huh.
distribution points, 2 points for 2 extra cards in a suit.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, if I had 2 5-card suits, I'd get 1 extra point in each suit. It doesn't all have to be in the same suit. Any question about how you determine your points?
Yes, when you have the diamond, look at the diamond. The
Yes,
diamond.
ma'am.
Wouldn't you count the 10? You have a 10, a 4, and a 3.
You would say that 10 is nice to have. And later on in the bidding, you might give it some more importance. But the formula for determining whether or not you should make an opening bid is to count your high card points plus your length. And if it adds up to 13, you make an opening bid.
10, 4, 3.
Okay? Okay.
Could you just say what you have in the diamonds? It's hard to see on the screen.
I'm sorry. Because I have the screen share up. I have 6 diamonds: king, queen, jack, 10, 4, and 3.
Okay.
King, queen, jack, 10, 4, and 3. So when I counted up, 4 points for each ace, 3 points for each king, 2 points for each queen, and 1 point for each jack, I had 11 points in my hand. Those are called high card points, HCP. I gave myself 2 extra points for distribution because I have a suit that has more than 4 cards in it. There's 2 extra cards in that suit, more than 4. So 11 plus 2 is 13. I was able to make an opening bid.
And can you put this on the big screen? Because it's very hard to see what you're writing. Yeah, that's much better. Thank you.
And do you get 2 points for a void? I don't.
Okay, so the question is about shortness. We hopefully will learn.
No.
A void is shortness, right? A void means that you don't have any card.
In a suit.
You don't, to make an opening bid, and you're going a little bit beyond the scope of the class, but to make an opening bid, You don't count your shortness. You don't count your singletons, your doubletons, or your voids. You might consider them later on in the bidding, but for an opening bid, you count your extra length. not
So
your
you're
shortness.
only counting 5 cards. You're giving 1 point to 5 card suit?
2 points for a 6-card suit, 3 points for a 7-card suit, 2 points for 2 5-card suits. Any suit that has more than 4 cards in it, you get 1 point for every card over 4.
Okay.
Plus your high card points.
Excuse me, I have one question. Did I hear you right? If you only have an ace in your hand and diamonds, can you count the aces 4 points?
Absolutely.
Oh, sorry, that's what I figured.
Whether it's a singleton or there's 7 more after it.
Not a problem.
Every ace is 4 points, every king is 3, every queen is 2, every jack is 1.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay.
And this is just a suggested way of bidding, not a rule. So you can bid even if you only have 12 points.
Okay, thank you for bringing that up. Last week we went into rules. You must follow suit, you must go clockwise, all those things, right? These are what they call conventions. These are pretty standard ways of bidding, but you don't go to bridge jail if you don't follow them. If you choose not to give high card points and just bid whatever your gut tells you to do, you're not breaking any rules, but you're playing stupid bridge.
Right.
And you're never going to make your contracts. And if you never make your contracts, unless you're extremely lucky, you're never going to make your contracts. If you don't make your contracts, you don't get a score. And you won't find a partner who's willing, and you won't find a partner who's willing to play with you. All right.
Because the bidding is the only way your partner has a clue as to what's in your hand.
That's right. Like I said, the bidding is a conversation. You tell your partner, here's what you describe what you have in your hand. Let me go on, guys. Let me go on. So what level? I'm skipping down to the bottom for a second. Don't put it on screen share, please. Just follow on page 7. At what level do you make an opening bid? The vast majority of opening bids, vast majority, is made at level 1, because a level 1 opening bid, I'm on the bottom of page 7, says, partner, I have between 13 and 21 points in my hand. 13 and 21 points in my hand. And that would be a combination of high card points. Anyone need me to repeat what those are?
No.
Plus distribution points. Anyone need me to repeat what those are? Okay.
No.
So if you have less than 13, you're probably not going to make an opening bid, although we're going to learn situations in which you do make an opening bid with less than 13 points, but you have other stuff going on in your hand. And if you have more than 21 points, you're going to do something else. But 90% of the time, your hand, if you're going to make a bid, will have between 13 and 21 points. Just for now, you're going to do part of the practice on page 8. If you look at page 8, I asked you to write down what the opening bid should be. You're not ready to do that yet. What I want you to do, though, for those 4 hands on page 8, is write down how many points the hand has. Remember to count. 4 points for an
4 and
ace.
3 is 7.
Please count to yourself. Please count to yourself. Mute yourself if you want to count out loud. 4
Can you
points
put
for an
that
ace,
page
3
on,
points.
please? Because I
sorry?
don't have, can you put that page on?
All right. Please put page 8 up, Tom. If you don't have these pages, you need to get them. All right, thank you. All right, so count. That's good. Do the 4 hands.
4 and 3 is 7.
Please count to yourself
Okay.
or mute yourself if you want to count out loud. Tom, will you tell Janine that I think you're wonderful?
Will do. I'll tell her to give me a raise as well.
Okay. Just don't tell her to take it out of my fee for the class. That was supposed to be funny. I guess it wasn't.
It was. I was on mute. I laughed. Don't worry.
Okay. this starting to sink in a little, guys?
Yes.
A little bit, right? Okay,
A little bit.
a little bit.
And I joined today. Did you go over the hand that you gave us for homework?
Could I go over it?
Did you go over it yet?
I went over it last week. Oh, did I go over playing the hand? No,
Yes.
Right.
no, I didn't.
Okay, I didn't.
And I probably won't get to it today.
Okay, but you will go over it at some point.
I will. And if we have to take 3 weeks to go over opening bids, we'll take 3 weeks.
Also, I thought that you only count distribution points when you have an agreement with your
No,
partner.
that's,
No?
that's when you count shortness, when you have an
Oh,
agreement with
good.
your partner.
Okay.
There is something you count when you have an agreement, but it's not length, it's shortness.
Blend. Okay, good.
So right now, we're just counting out the points in that
Right
hand,
now, you're
right?
counting out the points and you're making a decision in your head whether you would make an opening bid with that hand. And we're only counting length. We're not counting shortness.
Oh,
All right, let's give it 1 more minute. And then we'll go back to the sheet. We'll talk about major and minor suits. All right, I'm afraid you're gonna have to go on, and if you haven't had a chance to do it on your own, then you'll do it with us together. Let's look at the first hand on the upper left. Tom, that hand. So we have in spades, we have an ace and a king. How many points is that, guys?
7.
7. Then the next high card we have is a queen of diamonds. That makes how many points?
9.
9 high card points. Is there any other high card point in that hand?
No.
No.
But how many points does that hand really have?
10.
It has 11.
11. Let's see.
You have an
yes.
extra spade and you have
And
an extra heart.
Okay.
So 9 high card points plus 2 points for distribution makes an 11-point hand. You would
Yes.
not open with that hand. Open means if nobody else has bid, you make the first opening bid.
11.
So if you were the dealer with that hand, you would pass. Or if everybody before you passed, you would also pass with that hand.
You don't get 1 point for each of the other cards?
Do not.
3.
I would not tell you something that's
4.
untrue. You add up your high card points plus 1
2,
point for every
3.
card over 4.
Nothing.
Okay? The shortness, if you know something about bridge, shortness comes in later. Not now, not an opening bid.
9 and 1.
10.
Remember that the definition, please don't count out loud. The definition of an opening bid means nobody else has made a bid. Okay, hand number 2 would be the hand right next to it on its right. Let's count up the high card points in that hand. In hearts, you have a queen and a jack. How many points is that?
3.
3. 2 and plus 1. In diamonds, you have an ace. Add 4 to it makes 7.
7.
In clubs, you have another ace. Add 4 to it, you have 11. You have 11 high card
11,
points.
yes.
11, right? 3 and 8 is 11. Plus you have 2 extra points because you have 2 extra hearts. You have 2 more than 4. So that is a 13-point hand.
Yeah.
I haven't taught you anything about what suit to open, but what suit would you want to tell your partner you have in that hand?
Hearts.
Hearts. So your opening bid in that hand would be 1 heart. Here's why. 1, because you open at level 1 to show 13 to 21 points, and that's what that hand is, 13 to 21 points, right, guys?
Yes.
Right.
So your opening bid at the 1 level says, partner, I have somewhere between 13 and 21 points, and that's what you have. And you would open hearts because that's what you have in your hand. You're communicating to your partner, hey, it would be great if hearts was the trump suit because I'm loaded. And then your partner, when it's her turn, will say what she's got. So you can decide if together you have enough hearts.
Even though you don't have the ace and king.
No, You don't need the ace and king in everything.
Can you just say what your total points that you got for the hand on the
11
left?
high
and then on
card
the right?
points in hand number 2 plus 2 points for the 2 extra hearts.
The
Makes
total, so,
13.
okay, and
So
the
you have an
right
opening
one?
bid. Okay, let's go down to the third hand.
How many
Thank you.
points, how many points did you get for the second hand?
13.
Again, you have 11 high card points plus 2 points for the 2 extra hearts. That's 13 points. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Hand number 3. In the spades, you have an ace and a jack. How many high card points is that?
5.
And in the hearts, you have an ace and a king. How many high card points is that?
7.
Do you agree that that hand has 12 high card points?
Yes.
Okay. With me, guys? I'm hearing noise. So you have 12 high card points. How many points does that hand really have?
14.
It has 14 points
14,
because
yeah.
there's 1 extra point for the extra spade, 1 extra point for the extra heart. 12 plus 2 is 14. That is a 14-point hand. That is an opening hand. Now you might be saying, well, Anne, I don't know what to do because I've got 5 spades and I've got 5 hearts. I don't know which one to open. They're both very nice. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Okay, it happens to be spades, but there's a reason for it. But I just want you to understand that that is an opening bid hand. Yes?
Yes.
Hand number 4. Ah, what a pretty hand. Let's go high card points. In spades, you have an ace and a king. 4 plus 3 is
7.
plus 2 points for the queen of hearts makes 9.
9.
Plus in diamonds, you have 9 high card points. A 4, a 3, and a 2, right?
Uh-huh.
So you had 9 points for the spades and the hearts,
Mhm.
plus another 9 points for the 9 points in diamonds, plus the jack of clubs. What did you come up
Oh, I
with
didn't
for high
realize that
card
was a
points?
jack.
That's a jack. What'd you come up with for
19.
high card points?
19.
19.
19 high card points.
Oh,
7 and 2 and another 9 and a 1. 19 high card points, but that is a 20-point hand because it's got an extra
Yes.
diamond in it.
Yes, that's why.
Can you open at the 1 level with that hand?
Yes.
Because a 1 level opening is 13 to 21 points.
Yes.
Yes.
Even if you only had 4 diamonds, you would open at the 1 level because you'd have 19 points.
Still.
What do you think you're going to open in?
Diamonds.
Right. Clearly your best suit.
Mhm.
Diamonds.
All right. Just leave that page to the side because hopefully we'll come back to it. Let's go back to page 7. Can we take it off this screen share, please? Yeah, thank you. Page 7 says, okay, now we're going to talk about what suits we should open. I mean, we had some clear examples of some suits being really better than other suits, but then we had that one hand where we had 5 hearts and 5 spades, right? And you weren't sure which one to open. Everyone with me?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So bridge categorizes the 4 suits into major and minor. If you look at the bidding scale, we don't have to put it up on the screen, but if you happen to look at your bidding scale, do you notice that the 2 suits on the bottom of each level are clubs and diamonds and the 2 suits above them are hearts and spades?
Yes.
Okay. The reason that the bidding scale is organized with clubs and diamonds at the bottom and hearts and spades above them is hearts and spades are more valuable than clubs and diamonds. When you're keeping score, you get more points for making a contract in hearts and spades than you do for making a contract in diamonds and clubs. That doesn't mean you should be bidding hearts and spades all the time, only if you have them, right? But if you have a choice between bidding hearts and spades or diamonds and clubs, we want to go with hearts and spades because they're more valuable. Hearts and spades are called the major suits. Diamonds and clubs are called the minor suits. And you can use as a way of remembering the major suits because they're higher on the bidding scale. Yes?
Yes.
Stop me whenever I don't make sense, which probably is a lot. Okay. Now, remember we talked about rules versus conventions? And I said following suit is a rule. but what suits a bid is a convention.
Yes.
Well, a convention that we play in American Bridge, standard American Bridge, is called 5-card major. What are the major suits? I forgot.
Hearts and spades.
Hearts and spades. The 2 suits on the top of the bidding scale. I didn't really forget. I was just teasing. Okay. So 5-card major is a convention that says, hey, if you're going to make an opening bid in hearts or spades, you better have 5. You are promising 5. Why is that important? And here's something that may not be in this sheet, but just stay with me.
Maybe so your partner knows what you have?
Yes, you do not want to play in any suit as the trump suit unless you and your partner have at least 8 cards in that suit. I'm going to say it again. You can write it down if you want. It's going to come up in later handouts, but I want you to understand this now. You do not want to end up in a suit, in a contract with a certain suit as the trump suit, unless you and your partner have at least 8 cards in that suit. And 5-card major is a way of telling your partner, I've got 5, at least 5. I could have 6, I could have 7, but I'm promising you 5. So if your partner opens 1 heart, what have they told you? They've told you because they opened at the 1 level, they have between 13 and 21 points, right? Adding up their high card points and their distribution points. Stop me if you don't understand. They've also told you they have at least 5 cards in that suit. They opened one heart. Or if they said 1 spade, they're promising you 13 to 21 points and 5 spades, because spades and hearts are the major suits. You look at your hand and what do you see? You see 3 cards in that suit. So Ruth, I'm picking on you. Ruth, you said 1 heart. I'm just saying your name. I'm not really picking on you. Just saying your name. Ruth said 1 heart. She's my partner. I look at my hand and look at that. I've got 3 hearts.
Oh, good.
I know we have 8.
Yes, yes.
Because her bid told me she had 5.
Right.
So I know that we can feel comfortable with that suit as trump suit. But we also have to have a certain amount of strength together. I know she's got 13 to 21 points. She told me something about her strength. When it's my turn to bid, which we will get into later, I'm going to tell her something about my strength, and together we will see if we're strong enough to go up the ladder.
Oh, wow, so it's not random. Okay.
Oh, no, nothing in bridge is random.
So if your partner doesn't have 3, he's not going to bid anymore in that
All right,
suit.
we're actually getting into responses, but initially he's not going to bid, no, because he can't promise that there's 8 together. Okay, but let's not get into that. That's for another lesson. All right, so what happens if you go on to page 8? What happens if you have 2 5-card suits? Okay, remember, major suits are preferable to minor, but what if you have 2 5-card suits? It says there that if you have a 5-card major and a 5-card minor, you're going to bid the major because majors are better than minors. You're also going to bid the major because if you have 2 5-card suits, you bid the one that's higher on the bidding scale. Which is higher, hearts or diamonds on the bidding scale? Hearts are over diamonds. I've got 5 hearts, I've got 5 diamonds. Oh, I'm going to bid the hearts first. What if you have 5 hearts and 5 spades?
Bid spades.
Which one's higher on the bidding scale?
Spades.
Spades. Look down at the 3rd hand. Can we bring up that hand, page 8, please? Can we bring up page 8? Tom, thank you.
Wrong page. Okay.
Yes. Look at the 3rd hand, the one with the 5. Sorry about that. I turned that off. The one with the 5 spades and the 5 hearts.
Yeah.
Remember I told you to open that hand 1 spade?
Right.
Right.
Why did I tell you to open it 1 spade?
higher on the
Higher.
bidding
Because
scale.
spades is higher on the bidding scale. Okay.
So it
So-
doesn't make a difference if the ace and king was in the hard suit and there were lower ones. If you had,
You know,
it's just the higher suit.
it's not a rule, it's a convention to say that we open the one if we have two 5-card majors. Remember spades and hearts are both majors? It's a convention to say that if you have two 5-card majors, you open the one that's higher on the bidding scale. But if I'm looking at a 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 of spades and an ace, king, queen, jack, you know what I mean, of hearts, I'm going to open the hearts instead of the spades. You know, you can't just take these things as ironclad and, you know, things. You have to use a little, you have to be a little flexible and look at the hand. In this case, the hearts and spades are close enough that I'm going to say, okay, there's not that much difference between the hearts and the spades. So I'm going to follow the convention and I'm going to open the 5-card spades over the 5-card hearts. But if my hearts were way, way better than my spades, I would open the hearts instead of the spades if I had 5 and 5. Right?
And
Yes.
question.
Sure.
So for step 1 would be establishing if you have either 13 to 21 points. If you don't
Absolutely.
have that, okay.
Absolutely.
So if you don't have that, you're not going to the 5-card rule.
If you don't have that, you're not going to make an opening bid in anything. If you don't have 13 points and you're the dealer, for what we know now, there are situations in which you would, which we'll get into, but for our purposes now, if you don't have 13 points, if you've counted up your high card points and your distribution and it doesn't equal up to 13, if nobody else has bid, you cannot make an opening bid. Right? We're only talking about opening bids here. We're not talking about what happens if your partner has bid.
So
What
then you have-
happens if the opponents have bid? Nobody else has bid. You're deciding to make an opening bid. You need 13 to 21 points. So step one is, do I have at least 13 points? Yes. Now let me look at the suit. Oh, I have a 5-card major. I'll bid that. I have two 5-card majors. Most of the time, I'll bid the one that's higher on the bidding scale. If I have 13 points and I don't have a 5-card major, I am not going to pass. I'm going to bid something else. And that's what we'll talk about next time. That's bidding a minor suit. You have 13 points and you're in the position to make an opening bid. Nobody else has bid. Do not pass with 13 points because you don't have a 5-card major.
But
You'll
if
bid
you have
something else.
less than 13, then you have to pass.
If you have fewer than 13 points and you're in the opening bid position, in most cases, you'll pass. We will learn something else called a preempt bid, which is when you can do that with less than 13 points, but you have other stuff going on in your hand. But we're not ready for that yet. Okay, so here's what I'd like you to do for homework. I know I gave you the other thing for homework and we didn't go over it yet. I'd like you to deal out 4 hands. And I'd like you to look at each hand one at a time in turn and say, how many points does this hand have?
During the week, okay?
Would I bid this hand? Do I have a 5-card major? And if you have 13 points and you don't have a 5-card major, you can write that hand down on a piece of paper and say, Anne's going to tell me next week what to do with this hand. And if I don't, you can yell at me.